Hey everyone, it's Jason. Welcome to a special crossover edition of Magic the Gathering Ravnica Clue Edition. So yeah, this is I heard about this coming out, and I was like, I like Clue, like different Clue stuff you've seen. I've done other Clue videos, and I love Magic the Gathering, so I'm like, dude, I have to check this out. So I finally picked this up. I was probably been out for a little while, but yeah, this is kind of it's play Magic with a killer twist. So in this unique Clue-inspired spin on Magic the Gathering, there are two ways to win: hurl spells at your opponents on the battlefield, or hurl activations to correctly deduce the killer. Deal combat damage to uncover suspects, rooms, and weapons held by other players using the process of elimination, unless you're eliminated first. So from what I understand, and I could gather from like looking stuff up on this before it came out, is you play this as regular Magic the Gathering, except then there's extra steps. Because every time you do damage, you can do the kind of like guessing, interrogating that you do in Clue, where you ask like, hey, do you have this card, or do you have this type of thing. And we'll look at the rulebook and see exactly how it works. But just as a aforementioned of it is, this isn't a game of Clue using Magic the Gathering characters, or Clue with cards that then can be substituted into Magic the Gathering. It's Magic the Gathering that has elements of Clue in it. And I'll see if the rulebook say anything otherwise, but that's how I understand it. So there's 21 Clue boosters. We'll see exactly how these are, but I think those are, there are these blue ones here. That's so that you can essentially play 21 different games where you don't know who the killer is. Or not, shouldn't say 21. There's 21 because I believe you divide them amongst the number of players. So you can play a few different games. There are 8 20-card Ravnica Clue booster packs, Shockland booster box topper, 4 hidden info screens, evidence notepad, case envelope, and the Ravnica Clue edition card box. So yeah, let's hop in this. I haven't jumped in yet. So also, we'll get to all these are, but they made Magic the Gathering versions of the updated, the newer Clue characters. So everyone knows, like Professor Plum, Mrs. White, Scarlet, Colonel Mustard, no, I forgot what the other two are called. The blue and the green one. My brain just forgot who they are. But yeah, so they've updated them in the recent years, and now they've taken those new artwork versions of those characters, and yeah, they've added them into Magic the Gathering. Oh, why can't I think of what their last two names are? White, Professor Plum, Mrs. Scarlet, Colonel Mustard, who's yellow, Don't know why. Alright, here's our deck box. There's a different cool. It's pretty cool. Let's see what it looks like inside. Let's see what we all have in here. Alright. Nothing special on the inside. We have a ton of stuff. So, in here, I think we have some dividers. It's pretty cool. Oh, there's the Planeswalker symbol, but then they have like a thumbprint in there, or like a fingerprint. Very Clue-esque. Just toss that one off to the side. Has an extra little spot there for all the booklets. So we're going to get our standard Clue. So yeah, it's Apothecary White, Commander Mustard, Emissary Green, Headliner Scarlet, Mastermind Plum, and Senator Peacock. Oh, Peacock and just Mr. Green, I guess. I thought he had a different name. Then, of course, we have our weapons: candlestick, knife, lead pipe, rope, and wench. And the rooms: ballroom, billiard room, conservatory, dining room, hall, kitchen, library, lounge, secret passage, and study. So all our familiar things, just, with the characters having a little bit flair. Double-sided, so you got plenty to use. We got a confidential pack here. So this is currently empty, and we will fill that with stuff as we go along. Shockland booster box topper, so we will look at that. It's an extra magic card. Ravnica Clue edition. Oh, cool. because it's Ravnica. So if you're not familiar with Magic, or you don't know all about Magic for whatever reason, or you don't know about Ravnica part of Magic. So Ravnica is a giant city plane. So like, in Magic the Gathering, there are, just for people that maybe are coming this from the clue aspect, don't know what, is each player makes a deck of cards, you battle against each other, you cast spells, but then each different set has a world that you go to. This is Ravnica, which came out a long time ago, and then they've revisited it several times, but it is a city world. So usually it's just like a general like world that they go to. It's like everything. There's stuff way over here, stuff here. Like, you know, imagine like our world. Like one area they might go to might be like, you know, like the forest area, but that's on this continent. And then like maybe the swamps are next to the mountains, but that's on this area. And then there's, you know, different things. Ravnica is just a giant city. But then it has all these different guilds in there for all the different color combinations. So there's 5 different colors. There are 10 different guilds. And they kind of run it and they each have their own thing. So here we're going to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the 10 guilds. It'd be almost kind of fun if they made like extra characters just to fit the other guilds, but I guess that would throw off the regular thing. You'd have to do extra rules, but that's kind of cool that we're getting some of these. But it kind of does the different stations of Magic. So we have, my esteemed colleague, you are hereby invited to my humble home for an evening of dinner and conversation, a meeting of the minds and the future of the guild that you need. Bring only an open heart, a sympathetic ear, and an empty stomach. And don't be late. Guild Mage Boddy. Oh, that's awesome, because Mr. Boddy is the guy that usually ends up dying. So we have Emissary Green, who from the Silencia Conclave, which is a white and green. Guided by a mysterious world spirit, the Conclave seeks to bring nature to the city and into balance. Our Apocryphy White, from the Orvitz Syndicate. At the heart of the Ravnica's task force, the Horvos, who always come to collect even after death. Headliner Scarlet, the Cult of Radicos. These are vicious entertainers, gleeful to ensure that every performance is a riot. House of Gamir, Mastermind Plum. The shadow agents from this guild peddle influence, leverage, and back alley espionage. Commander Mustard from the Boros Legion. At Ravnica's standing army, the Boros Legion pursues the cause of justice, and Senator Peacock. The Orzara Senate. The Senate sells the speech between and maintains order between the guilds. Yeah, so it's kind of cool. It's a different one. So, like, Cult of Radicos are kind of like demons and, like, monster-type characters. House of Gamir are, like, assassins and guys that work from the shadows. They work behind the scenes doing everything. Most people aren't even sure half the time they exist. The Boros Legion is, like, your straight-up, like, frontline army. In first, trying to do justice. The Senate is your, like, court system type people, your jailers. The Orzova Syndicate is, they're like, if these are your judges and, like, cops, this is, like, your bank system, essentially. They're, like, the guys that control the money. They run through everything. And then, Silenza, I'm pronouncing half of these wrong, I can guarantee it. They're more of just like, you know, they're the nature groups of all the, it's like in a world full of city, like, they're the ones that do all the nature stuff. So that's pretty cool. Alright, so we have how to play. We're going to look at that in a minute. Let's look at what else we have in here. So we're going to get 4 of these, which are just screens, so you can hide your notes and stuff behind it. So like when I'm, you know, filling out my note, I can hide it behind that for everybody. That's cool. So let's see what else we have in here before we look at the rules. So we have our packs. It says shuffle 2 packs and play together. We get 1, so we get 8 of these. So we get 2, 3, so basically you get 4 full games out of this is what it should be. Did you say anything else on there? Includes 20 game cards. full list of possible contents. So, yeah, interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see what's in all those. We have a special set of magic clue cards. And then we have this little extra box divider, which nothing extra in there. That just has your suspects, your weapons, and your rooms. And I think they just have that's kind of neat. So you can kind of like have that in the box separate. Oh, neat. And then they have the little, they have our dividers we had earlier. Which, if this lines up right, if they line up right, they're supposed to go in like that, and that way you'll have, try and get some good lighting on there. Yeah, you can put all three of these in here. I don't know if mine are lined up exactly right. Probably not. It's probably they're sitting kind of funky, but yeah, then it kind of gives you your different dividers in there for probably different sets. So then you drop this guy back in there. And you can keep this separate for every time you play. And then you'll have your other 4 decks, all your rules and stuff. That's actually a pretty cool way to do all that. Alright, let's look at how to play this, and then we will look at the cards themselves. Now, I'm not going to explain how to play Magic the Gathering. If you don't know, I'm sure there are other places to play, or one of these days, I'll have to do a how to play Magic the Gathering video, because I hear a lot of people want to know. But that won't be today's video. Guildmaster Boddy Black slaying in his manor. One of his 6 invited guests is responsible. As a detective with the Ravnica Agency of Magiological Investigations, you have been tasked with identifying the matter of his demise. Either crack the case before your rival sleuth, or end their investigations permanently. Alright, so that's kind of cool. Object. In Ravnica Clue Edition, players compete in a free-for-all multiplayer game with 2 paths to victory. Gather evidence when your creatures deal combat damage, and use those clues to guess the evidence cards in the case file envelope. If your guesses are correct, you win. Stumped, you also win if you're the last sleuth left standing. So if you're not good at the guessing part of Clue, you can just do magic and destroy your opponent. This game is designed for 3 to 4 players, but works well for 2 players. The Clue element of this game can be used with your own magic decks in game of up to 5 players. So it's kind of neat. So basically, they're giving you cards to start with. You pick this up, you can play your game, right? But then it's also saying, like, oh, we've played with all the 8 packs we have, right? The 8 boosters they gave us. You can still sit there and play this again with other cards. So it says, open 2 Ravnica boosters, shuffle them together. This is your library for the game. The other players do the same. Aha. So like I said, I thought this was going to be for 8 packs for that. So it's, if I'm playing a 4-player game, I get 1 game out of this with these particular cards. But it gives me a deck to start with. But if I'm playing 2-player, I could get 1, 2, 3, I could get 4 games out of it. So yeah, it just depends on how many players you play as. Open the Clue Booster and separate the 21 evidence cards into 3 piles, suspects, weapons, and rooms, as indicated on the evidence notepad. Shuffle each pile and place them face down. Note, the cards found in the Clue Boosters aren't meant to be used on the battlefield with those from the Clue Edition boosters. You can play them in any other Magic decks if you wish, but in this game mode, they're intended only as evidence cards. So what that's saying is, this card here, the Wrench, can be played in any game. You can use this as an actual Magic the Gathering card. But for the purpose of this game, this is just the Wrench. So that's kind of a neat little idea as well. Place the top card from each card of the 3 piles near the case file, face down so no player can see them. Then reveal the top 2 cards of the room pile and set them aside. So that way I think it starts, you know, what rooms aren't available, because there's more rooms than there are the other things. Shuffle the remaining suspect weapon room cards together, deal them out face down to each player. Keep these evidence cards separate from your library and hidden from other players. Hang the writing utensil and sheet in the notepad. record evidence during the game. Look at your evidence cards and the 2 reveal rooms. Mark them on your sheet. Keep this information hidden after all players are ready to do so. So, okay, just to kind of break this down, because this is Clue. So what that does is you have 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, you have 5, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 rooms. So what you're going to do is you're going to put one of each of these in the little clue box, so you don't know which one. That's the bad stuff. That's who did it, with what weapon, and where they did it at. Then you're going to do is shuffle, put 2 rooms face up. So let's say, for example, we put the ballroom and the billiard face up. We know that those 2 aren't in there, so you can mark them off because you know that those aren't going to be ones in the envelope. And then you hand out all the rest to everybody else. So if you have 4 players, each one's going to have less cards. If you're playing a 2-player, each person will have half. And then let's say if I get 2 cards or I get 2 more rooms, let's say again, just to keep it easy, I get the conservatory and the dining room. So now I know that these 2 aren't it because they're out on the table, and I know these 2 aren't it, so I mark them off. So I know that the thing happened in one of these rooms. And then if I got the candlestick and Senator Peacock, I mark them off, and I know that those aren't people either. Then as you play through the game, you can talk to other people and see what's in their hand, essentially. And if somebody else at one point shows you apocryphy white, you mark that up, and you know that that's not one. Because if it's in someone's hand, it's obviously not in the envelope. That's how Clues play, just in case we're not familiar. Alright, so let's go here. It's a multiplayer Magic game with these additional rules. You and all other players start with 30 life. When one or more creature you control deals combat damage to a player, you must make a suggestion. Say, I suggest the crime was committed by someone with the something weapon in the something room. That player secretly shows you one of the evidence cards from your suggestion. If they have one. If you have more than one card, they choose which to show you. Okay, so yeah. So if I'm player A and I attack player B, and I'm like, I think it was, if I go, I think it was apocryphy white with the candlestick in the hall, and they have the candlestick and the hall, they can show me either one of those. But they don't have to show me both, so they can choose which one. So it might be pertinent to even sometimes maybe ask the same person multiple times. And you can also ask ones that you know are crossed off. Like, so if in my hand I had the hall, I could still ask someone if it was in the hall, because then they don't know that I have it, right? So why would you ask it if he already knows that that's one? Because that could be a way to, like, check for the other 2, but then make everyone else think the hall is still available. Just a little bit of trickery in there. If your creature deals combat damage to multiple players at the same time, you make a suggestion that player closest to your left was dealt damage shows you evidence cards. If possible, if they can't, then the next player dealt damage must attempt to show you the card, and so on, until all players that were dealt damage have attempted to show one. So if they have one, they have to show one. If they have multiple, they only have to show one. They can choose which one to show. And they can keep showing the same one if they're asked. So if like 2 people in a row ask them, Candlestick Hall, they can show the hall to both different players. They don't have to choose each one. At the beginning of your end step, if you haven't made a suggestion, you may exile cards with a total mana of 6 or greater from your graveyard to do so. If you do, follow the rules above if you haven't dealt combat damage to each other player. That's kind of a neat extra step. So that way, in case you're having issue doing damage or hurting people, maybe they're just blocking well enough, you can at least have an opportunity to potentially do that. Suggestion evidence tip. If you don't know what evidence to include in your suggestion, you can find the names of all suspects, weapons, and evidence on your note evidence sheet. Mark any evidence card you show. Okay, there we go. So it's just telling you how to mark your stuff off. Whenever you show an evidence card to another player, you create a treasure token. Treasure Token is an artifact card you can tap and sacrifice to add for 1 mana. Ooh. That's kind of cool because that'll help speed up the game a little bit. So if you do show one, then you actually get an extra card to maybe speed you up. If you lose the game, reveal your evidence cards to all players. So if someone defeats you, then you show all the cards and now everyone gets all the extra information. Think you know the whodunit? At the beginning of your end step, after suggestions have been made, you can make an accusation to solve the murder. Say, I accuse, instead of suggest, so-and-so of murdering Guildmaster Boddy with the weapon in the blank room. Then check the case file envelope without letting any other player see. You can only make 1 accusation per game, so be careful. If you named all 3 evidence cards in the case file, reveal them, you win the game. If your accusation was wrong, put the cards back in the envelope. Keep them hidden from the other players. You can't make suggestions or accusations for the rest of the game, but you must still respond to any other player. Don't lose hope. Even though you can't solve the murder, you can still reduce the totals to 0. So that's kind of a neat little twist on it as well. Because normally, like, if you guess and you guess wrong, I think you're out of the game. I might be wrong on that. I don't remember 100%. But this is at least the way, like, hey, you know the answer. Like, I guess now you can't do anything. But at least you're still playing the game. Like, right? You can still block people and do this and that. So actually kind of cool. Alright, so that was all of those. So let's look at some of these cards and see what we got in here. So before we start the actual clue cards, I want to see what this Shockland is. I'll just throw one of these up here for a moment. So now I'm assuming all of these cards, other than the special evidence ones, are in the current Ravnica set. I don't think they're clue specific, but I have to go. I'm not for sure on that. Alright, so we had this special Shockland box topper. So this is kind of, they do have a little C for clue there. So maybe these are special because they also have the C on these ones as well. So we'll look at those in a moment. But what is this? This is Overgrown Tomb. And this is actually a foil. You can kind of tell. So it's a swamp and a forest. As Overgrown Tomb enters the battlefield, you may pay 2 life. If you don't, it enters the battlefield tapped. So this is, okay, so for magic, non-magic people, however you are, so a Shockland is basically, you normally play a land, it comes into, you play it, it's fine. But then they have special lands that are just harder to play sometimes. So what this does is it acts as a swamp or a forest anytime you use it. But the penalty is, if you want to be able to use it on your first, or at the first turn you play it, you have to take 2 life. So it's shocking you, and that's why they call them that. So it's like, yeah, if you can hold off and you don't need it right away, it's fine. Just play it for free. But if you want to use it immediately, you're going to take a shock. So it does say on the bottom, it says rare, which is our rarity, number 278. And it says CLU for clue. So it'd be interesting to see if that means there are 278 for this clue edition or not. Because if there is, I don't know how many cards are per pack here. Trying to see if it's set. I think there are 21 clue boosters. I don't know how many are in each one. Unless there's 21 cards. Oh, a 21 clue. So 8 20 card packs. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 100. So 160 cards. So if I had no duplicates, if there's 278 cards, that means, and I only have 108, it means you would have to almost buy this twice to get all the cards, potentially. So we'll see if that's the case. Alright, well, let's look at our thing. So they have the regular Magic the Gathering backer. But we have our wrench, which is our evidence card. So this is card number 7. They didn't put them in order necessarily. Well, it's a white card. It's kind of gates represent the different mana colors. Creature equipped just gets +1/+1, has vigilance, and pay 3 and tap target creature. Neat, so you beat him in the head. Sacrifice wrench to draw a card, pay 2 to equip it. That's pretty cool. Clue equipment, I love that. We have the candlestick, which ends up being blue. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. It has, remember, this creature attacks Surveil 2 with the top 2 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest on top of your library in any order. Pay 2 to sacrifice it to draw a card. So it's like they're all going to have the same +1/+1. Pay 2 to sacrifice to draw a card, or 2 for equipping. The lead pipe, which is black. Equipped creature has, oh, nope, says already wrong, has +2. Says just 2 attack, no defense. Whenever equipped creature dies, each opponent loses 1 life. Interesting. The knife, very nice, like a very fanciful knife for red. As long as it's your turn, equipped creature gets +1 and has first strike. That's pretty cool. And then finally the rope. Which is, oh, nice, a little green rope there. Equipped creature gets +1/+2, has reach, can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. That's pretty cool. Alright, then we have what's actually really neat as well, is we have the rooms. So the rooms are all land cards. So again, you can play these in the regular game. It's neat because they're taking the idea, I believe they're all the same shape as the actual Clue board game, but they're taking the very thematic. So this is the Orbit symbol. So like if I go through and I always say it, I know I'm saying Orbit's wrong. It's like, that's how I pronounced it. Orz, I don't know. But yeah, so they have this little like star symbol, and that's such like in the middle of the floor there. So that's pretty cool. It's the white-black color. Baller enters the battlefield tapped. Tap a tag 1 white or 1 black. Pay 4 to investigate. Create a clue token. It's an artifact with 2 sacrifice this artifact to draw a card. Yeah, so basically it's kind of fun. They already had clue tokens well before this game came out with Investigate. But it's a fun way to like tie it into the game. We have the billiard room, which is a black and red one. You know, I think they're all going to be the same thing. But yeah, if we kind of, so it has the Radico symbol in there. We have the conservatory, which is the Selenia, green and white. Although I don't see the logo on there anywhere, doesn't mean it's not in there somewhere. We have the dining room, which is red and green. Which, ooh, are we going to test my knowledge, see if I remember what red-green is? Oh boy, if I seen the symbol, I would probably remember. I forgot what red-green is. I will check back on that in just a sec. Let me look. 1 sec. Yeah, so the red-green are the Groll clans, who are kind of like tribal guys. They're outside the village. They're kind of more somewhat monsters or orcs, troll type of guys. So the dining room makes perfect sense for them. Then we have the kitchen, which is for the Simic Combine. So this is blue-green mixed, and so these guys are like the scientists. They actually have abilities where they mix stuff together. So again, makes sense in the kitchen. The hall, which is the red-white one, which is the Boros Legion. Again, like the army, the knights. So you can see them kind of be in the entryway, the guard position. The library is blue and red, which is the Izzet League. So these are the knowledge / mad scientists. So if like the Sismic are like the body, they're in the kitchen, but they're like the body manipulation stuff. They're combining creatures and things and making stuff that way. These guys are the guys that are using knowledge to create extra technologies and smarts. So the library definitely makes sense. The lounge is for the Golgari Swarm. So these are like the undead plant type creatures. So like they're undead guys. They kind of come from the plant, the earth, swamps. Gorgons, I believe, are part of this. So the lounge is a little interesting for them. I mean, it looks perfect for that picture, but it's kind of an odd one. Then we have the Secret Passage. This is the House of Demir. This is your assassins, your hidden guild guys. And then the last one we have is the Study, which is the Orzaris Senate. So like the learning guys, the judges, they're kind of in their little like house learning stuff. So that's pretty cool. Alright, then we have some creatures. These are all legendary creatures, which is really fun. So we're going to get different abilities. So, Apocryphy White is a human cleric who has vigilance. Whenever you attack, create a food token for each player being attacked. It is an artifact with pay 2 to sacrifice your artifact, gain 3 life. Pay 1 and tap X untapped food you control, create X1/1 white human creatures. Cool. You can kind of bring people in, because she's supposed to be, I believe in the other Clue games, she's like the chef, usually. I think the older version she was a maid. I think the newer ones they made her into the chef, so this kind of makes sense. This is also interesting just to point out, this is the third token we've created in this game. So we've created Clue tokens, which let us investigate, which are the top cards of our decks. Or draw a card, sorry. We made food tokens, which let us gain life, and we've been able to create treasure tokens, which let us use them for extra mana to pay for things. So it's kind of a neat thing. You use cards that create extra cards, but then you can use as like one-time effects. Which she actually gets a bonus for if you don't use them, you get extra things for them. Senator Peacock. Are they all gonna have the same cost? No, because she costs 4, she costs 5. Cool. She's a human advisor. Artifacts you control are clues in addition to their other types, and have pay 2, sacrifice this artifact to draw a card. Whenever you sacrifice a clue, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Oh, that's neat. And I love her pen is the peacock. That's fun. I'm trying to remember what the roles were for the other characters. I actually got a copy of the Clue right here. I'm gonna see if yeah, Mrs. Peacock. I don't think she really has extra thing. I think she just says here, lifelong connection, heaps of cash. Trying to fall in love. I don't know. Doesn't really tie into that as maybe a senator as much. Popularity, maybe. Yeah, I think Mrs. White, who they added in some of the later ones, yeah, was the chef. I might not even have the most updated group of characters either. We have Mastermind Plum, who's a human wizard. So yeah, he has whenever Mastermind Plum attacks, exile up to 1 target creature from a graveyard. If an artifact creature is exiled this way, create a treasure token. Whenever you cast a spell, if mana was spent to cast it, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Interesting. When you cast a spell, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, you draw a card and you lose 1 life. Cool, so you basically sacrifice stuff to gain more things. That's fun. Headliner Scarlet, legendary creature, human warlock. Haste, when Headliner Scarlet enters the battlefield, creature target player controls can't block this turn. At the beginning of your upkeep, exile top card of your library face down. You may look at and play this that card this turn. That's fun. Emissary Green as a human advisor. Whenever Emissary Green attacks, starting with you, each player votes for profit or security. You create a number of treasure tokens equal to twice the number of profit votes, putting number of +1/+1 counters on each creature you control equal to the number of security votes. You create a number of tokens equal to twice the number of profit and put a number, oh boy. So basically people have to decide, because they want to give you a bunch of treasure tokens so you can cast more stuff, or they want to give you counters. And then finally we have Commander Mustard, who's a human soldier. Vigilance. Other soldiers you control have Vigilance, Trample, and Haste. Pay 2 colorless, a red, and a white. Until the end of your turn, soldiers you control gain. Whenever this creature attacks, it deals 1 damage to the defending player. Ooh boy, so that's kind of fun. So yeah, that's also an interesting thing, I think, versus regular Clue. Is regular Clue each player, because you have to move around the board, and you have to make your accusation, or your accusations or suspicions from a specific room. I believe, like, if you want to call it the ballroom, you have to be in the ballroom. Yeah, so it's interesting there. And so each player is playing as one of the characters. And in this game, you're not really. You're almost playing as, like, an extra person, because you don't each have one of the... Because you have all the different character cards sorted around, but you don't have your little movers moving you around the board and everything to each different room. So it's kind of interesting. So it'd be kind of neat to, like, play like a 5-player game, but have each person take one of these characters and play them as their commander. So Commander Magic works a little bit different. I'm not going to get too much into it. But basically you play with bigger decks. But you can even play smaller decks maybe, but just using this as a commander. But what that does is it means that character starts out on the table instead of having to find them in your deck. And that'd be kind of a neat way to play. So you have to find some other card, though, to represent the characters for searching and everything. But that could definitely be kind of cool. Alright, so now we're going to hop in and open up the actual packs and see what we got. I'm going to stick these guys back in the box, just so I know where everything is. And yeah, we'll see what we get out of here. So you're supposed to open up 2 packs. And these screens are being a pain in my ass because they're all stacking on top of each other. I was trying to put some of those back. Alright, so supposed to open up 2 packs and we'll see what we get. Like, what kind of deck we can make out of it. Now, I don't know if it has extra lands or you have to provide your lands or how that's going to work. Okay, so they're going to be kind of like... Alright, so that's how they're going to work. They're going to work like the... I forgot what they're called. They're like quick play packs that they had for a while. Like, you buy it and you get like a couple different ones, and the idea is you take 2 of them and you mash them together. So here's our second. We got another Auras of Senate. So you take each of the decks, you mash them together, and then you create a deck. So it's gonna have, so each pack is semi-random. So we're gonna go ahead and see what's in this first one. We'll actually see if these 2 Auras at Senate are the exact same. I think they're going to be. But yeah, we'll see what happens here. So, alright, here's the first one. So just magic card in the back. But yeah, down here it's going to have F and it's going to have 0001. As opposed to a regular magic card just has... Oh, it does. They have 4 in there now. Interesting. I didn't know they ever started doing 4 levels. Yes, this is cool. Now this, I think, just signifies, not that this is card number 1, but this is pack number 1. But let's see what we got in here. We have an Owl Familiar, who is a bird. Flying Owl Familiar, enters the battlefield, draw a card, then discard a card. The Jeering Homunculus. When Journey Homunculus enters the battlefield, you may goad target creature until your next turn. That creature attacks each combat if able, and attacks a player other than you if able. Mythical had always hated Crouch, and they always hated him. This is kind of an interesting one, right? When he enters a battlefield, you can goad target creature until your next turn. That creature attacks each combat if able, and attacks a player other than you. So normally that'd be kind of interesting because you could force other people to have to attack each other and do damage and possibly risk their creatures. But it could also give someone a chance to use a suggestion outside, that they might not have wanted to do. Cloud King Seer, Elemental Wizard. Flying when Cloud King Seer enters the battlefield, draw a card. I can see which way the wind is blowing. So lots of card drawing in here. Blue is known for getting cards and knowledge. Rescuer Sphinx. Flying as Rescuer Sphinx enters the battlefield, you may return non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. If you do, Sphinx enters the battlefield with a 1/1 counter. Now, little fighter, show me you deserve a second chance. So this is actually a fun card too, because you can bounce somebody else's card back to their hand, or you could use it on your own. So like we played our gibbering guy here, we just saw, or like this guy, enters the battlefield, or enters a battlefield, right? Any one of them, you could put that card back in your hand and get to play it again. So that's cool. So we have the white part. I love that little symbol on the bottom down there for it too. Portal Manipulator. Flash. When Portal Manipulator enters the battlefield, during the declare attacker step, choose a player any number of target attacking creatures their opponent controls. Those creatures are now attacking that player. Next punch you throw hits the back of your own head. So you can play her with Flash if you play her outside of your turn. If you play her during an attack step, choose target player and any number of target attacking creatures their opponent controls. So basically you can force them to have to fight somebody else. That's cool. We have a split card, so normally it's like this, but we have Dispose and Deploy. So you can play this as either different cards. So either Dispose, tap target creature and draw a card, or Deploy, create 2 1/1 colors, Thropper artifact, token to flying, then 1 life for each creature you control. The Azorius Signet, pay 1 to add white and blue. A mage-like design embodies the core of the Azorius law. Strict structure design and test its wills install change. And then we have Cursive Chains. Enchanted creature at the beginning of each upkeep. Tap enchanted creature. Giant real punishment with fleeting moment when he is allowed to stand before being dragged down to his knees again. Turn to Mist. Exile target creature. Return that card to the battlefield on their controller step at the beginning of the next turn. So again, these are really fun ones. I like their bouncing cards back to your hand so you can reuse them or play them on your opponents. Code of Constraint. Target creature gets -4 attack till the end of turn. Draw a card. An Engum. If you cast a spell during your main phase, tap the creature and it doesn't tap during its controller's next step. Oh, that's actually kind of cool. So, an instant, kind of like we had that card say Flash, you can play during your opponent's turn if you want. So basically, if they're attacking, you can make them really weak. But if you play this earlier during your turn, rather than during your opponent's turn as a defense, you can actually make them freeze a lot longer. That's pretty cool. Then we're going to get a bunch of lands. We're going to have Thriving Isle. Thriving Isle enters the battlefield. Tap. As Thriving Isle enters the battlefield, choose a color other than blue. Add 1 blue or 1 mana of the chosen color. All wonders of the natural world are breathtaking microism. So, yeah, this is cool too, because right now we have a blue-white deck with these cards we have, but let's say if the next other pack I got had blue and black, I could make this other color black, if that would help out more. The Azorius Guildgate enters the battlefield, tap, and I can add 1 of either one. Another special one, the Azorius Chancery. Enters battlefield, tap. When enters control, return a land you control to its owner's hand. Tap to add 2. So this is just another way to, like, so it's going to replace one land that produces 2 mana, but I have to basically sacrifice another land I had for it. But I get to play it again my next turn. Then we have some rare cards. Well, we have 5 blue land. So they gave us those as well. Then we have 2 rare cards in here. So we have Suppressor Skyguard, which is the one on the front of the picture, which is pretty cool. Human Knight, flying. Whenever a player attacks, if that player has another opponent who isn't being attacked, then all combat damage to be dealt to you this combat. Interesting. So that's kind of cool. So if they attack you, they have to be attacking somebody else as well. So they have to attack multiple players. Otherwise, you don't have to take damage. Attention Brawlers. You are in violation of Senate Statute 2309.76-22. Halt your melee before you incur further charges. That's awesome. And then finally, for this pack, we have Ravnica of the 10th. Protection from red. Ooh, can't be hurt by red cards. When Ravnica enters the battlefield, detain each non-land permanent your opponent controls with a mana value of 4 or less. Until your next turn, those permanents can't attack or block, and their activated abilities can't be activated. Just shutting your guys down. Cool. Alright, so we're going to open up the second pack of the Azurus Second. We're going to see if it's the exact same cards. Yep. So each mini pack, is, if it has that front picture, is going to be the exact same cards. So unfortunately, like, I guess, fortunately / unfortunately, if I would have picked up these 2 packs first, I would have had doubles of all these cards. Which, one hand, kind of, they would have definitely synergized well together. Because I had 2 copies of each card, so I could have drawn each one a lot more often. And good, but that also means the game might not be as interesting because I only have 2 different colors. Let's see what our third pack is, though. We have what's like pack number 9, the Silenza Conclave. So that's some elephants. So we have Doom Traveler. Whenever Doom Traveler dies, create a 1/1 white spirit token with flying. War Screecher, flying. Costs 5 and 1 to tap. Other creatures you're going to get +1/+1 till the end of turn. This swings a Guildmage. Pay 3 and 1 green, create a 1/1 Sapperling token, or pay 3 and 1 white. Creatures you control get 1/1 till the end of turn. Seller of Songbirds. When a Seller of Songbirds enters the battlefield, create a 1/1 white bird creature token with flying. So now you can see where this would combine nice with this other one, because you have that card get bounced. You can bounce this guy back to your hand, replay him again, to like get another bird creature. You have stuff like that that can happen. Summoner Rumblers. Its power is equal to the number of creatures you control. Myriad. Whenever this creature attacks, for each opponent other than the defending player, you may create a token that is a copy of this creature that is tapped and attacking that player or planeswalker they control, and exile tokens at the end of combat. So this is neat. So basically, if you attack one player and you're playing a 4-player game, this will create a copy and attack the other 3. And they're going to go away anyhow, so if they die, they die, but maybe they'll take one of your opponents, maybe they'll damage them. That's fun. Herberus Protector, Human Cleric. Whenever Protector enters battlefield, create a 4/4 white angel with flying. God's Willing. Target creature control gains protection from the card of your choice till the end of turn. Scry 1. Scry means what's the top card of your deck, put it on the top, relax on the bottom. Fun. Rick Boring Defenses. Populate. Creatures you control gain indestructible to the end of the turn. To populate, create a token of the copy of a creature token you control. So the first one was doing a lot of stuff where it was letting you draw cards, and look at cards. Plus, it was also letting you like return cards to hand. Again, you can return your own or return your opponent's. This is letting you create a lot of tokens. Now, it'd be fun is if you combine those two. Return, like you have a flyer out. Oh crap, my opponent can block my flyer, right? Return it to its hand. right? So now they can't. Now you have a freedom to play until they play it again. Martial Impetus. Enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and is goaded. Every enchanted creature attacks each other creature that is attacking your opponent gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. Conclave Tribunal. Combo. Your creatures can help cast a spell. Each creature you tap will cast a spell pays for one of the mana of that color. So what I can do is I can tap 3 of my other token creatures or creatures I've created to make this cost 1 white. Conclave Tribunal enters the battlefield. Exile target non-land permanent opponent controls until it leaves the battlefield. Cool. We have some land here. Thriving Hearth. So like our other one. Enters tap, name a color other than white. So this should be, again, you can mix these 2 decks together. You could pick this one to either help with the green or the blue, and then the other one you could pick with have it help with the white or the green. The Sunica Guildgate enters the battlefield, tap, gets you the 2 colors. The Sanctuary returns 1. We get the 4 white, so this is going to be focused on our white. So this is what's also interesting. So if you're playing this, you have no way of playing any of your green cards without these couple of lands. Like it's mostly going to be playing white cards. The other one mostly play blue cards. So if you combine these, the white would be covered for both decks. The blue would be covered, but you'd have to kind of like hope to get the green stuff out. But there's not a ton of green in this part. The Conclave Evangelist. Elephant Cleric who has Myriad. And whenever Conclave Evangelist deals combat damage to a player, create a token that is a copy of it. Oh, that's nuts, right? So it attacks, and it creates a token to hit the other 3 players, and if it deals damage to one of those players, it creates a copy of itself. So then now, like, maybe you did damage to 1 guy. So now your next turn, now you have 2 of these characters. And then now you can have both of them attack, and they'll, if they attack the same guy, now you're creating, yeah, crazy. You can create a bunch of tokens. The Toasterani Discordant is a Dryad. Other creatures you control get 1/1. When Discordant enters the battlefield, create 2 1/1 white soldier creature tokens with lifelink. At the beginning of your end step, each player gains control of all creatures they own. So if someone borrowed your creature, you get it back. That's not bad either. Alright, pack number 4. I'm going to kind of try and fly through these a little bit. I'm still going to try and read them. I'm going to try and fly through. We're getting a little bit long in the video. I'll put that back in the front. We have the Gruul clans. This is our green and red. I'm going to guess red's going to be dominant. I think the first... Oh, maybe not. Let's say I thought the first color was, but this was green first, so... but looks like, yeah, just looking through the pack quick. Red's the dominant color in here. This is pack number 7. So we have Gravelhide Goblin Shaman. So this, if you pay a 3 and a green, just +2/+2 to the end of turn. No piece of card will save Ravnica. You don't go build on rot, you burn it down and start again. Stormblood Berserker, Human Berserker, Bloodthirst 2. If an opponent was dealt damage this turn, this creature enters the battlefield with 2 counters on it. Menace, this creature can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So these guys are going to be fast attackers and hard hitters. The Pyre Wild Shaman, Blood Rush, pay 2, discard him. Target attacking creature gets +3/+1 until the next turn. Remember, one or more creature you control deals combat damage to a player. If Pyre Wild Shaman is in your graveyard, you may pay 3. If you do, return him to your hand. Ooh, so that's cool. So you basically play him, sacrifice him to boost up another creature, and then you can potentially get him back. Cool. Turret Ogre, who has Reach, means he can attack flying creatures. When Turret Ogre enters the battlefield, if you control another creature with 4 or greater, power 4 or greater, Turret Ogre does 2 damage to each opponent. Nice. The Furious Spine Splitter. Trample at the beginning of your opponent's end step. Put a 1/1 counter on Furious Spine Splitter. Each opponent that was dealt damage this turn. Okay, that's cool. So it's a 3/3, but we'll have so trample means if he gets blocked, if he does more. Normally, if you get blocked, it stops damage. So if he gets stopped by like a 1/1 creature, he would defeat that creature, but no damage would go through, and that means you wouldn't get a your suggestion in this case for the Clue Edition. But trample means is that extra damage will carry over, so still do 2 damage to the opponent. So the only way for your opponent to stop damage, we have to play a 3 or higher power creature. So like they could play something like that that's 3 defense, but if they play a 3/1, you'd still do damage. That's cool, because if he does damage, and he's still alive, he gets an extra counter, so he just gets harder and harder to defeat each time. That's fun. Chain Whip Cyclops. Pay 4 there. Target creature can't block this turn. Neat. Let's see, we have Ripsdale Predator. It's a dinosaur menace, cannot be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. So you guys know their high attacks and their boosts are going to make it harder to, they're going to have to sacrifice stuff to take them out. The Gruul Singlet. Tap 1 to add your red or green. Shiny Impetus. Enchant creature gets +2/+2 and has Goaded. Enchanted creature attacks, you create a treasure token. So would this work with either of the other 2 decks? Not with the Azura deck. If you draw those together, you have 4 colors. It would be a very hard deck to play. So I know they said grab 2 packs and play. I'd almost say open all these first, see which ones you have, and let people maybe decide. Or at least have the option after they draw 2 to maybe swap with one other player. Because yeah, if you had 4 colors versus someone that had 2 of the, like, if the first player would have grabbed the 2 blue and white ones together, they would have had a really easy to play deck because they have lots of the same colors. But then if the other player now grabbed the green and white and then the white and green, it would be hard to play. Even though they have a green shared color, they don't have any green mana cards. They have white and red, so like the green part would still be a little bit tricky to play possibly. We have Fire Spout here. Does 3 damage to each creature without flying if red was spent to cast it. 3 damage to each creature with flying if green was spent to cast it. If both do though. So that's kind of neat, so depending on how you pay for it. The Thriving Bluff, which lets you add 1 plus any color. Grow Guildgate, which adds pay for one or the other. The Grow Turf, which adds the 2. Then the 5 red lands. And our 2 rare cards are Herald of Ilharg, Trample. Whenever you cast a creature spell, put 2 1/1 counters on Herald. If the spell has a mana value of 5 or greater, deals damage equal to the number of counters on it to each opponent. Oh, that's cool. So if you cast a high-level card, not only is he going to deal a bunch of counters and be harder to defeat himself, but he's also going to deal extra damage. So the first time he won't do, you'll put 2 counters on him, and then if it's a 5 or higher, you could do 2 damage, which means you also could do suggestions, right? So that's pretty cool. So I'm trying to look at these cards in the mindset of how will they work for Magic, which are cool, but how will they work with this, the Clue rules. Clan Defiance. Choose 1 or more. Deal X damage to target creature with flying, X damage to creature without flying, or X damage to target player or planeswalker. So cool. So you can do as much damage as you want. You know, like, even for the Clue thing, right? It's not going to make a difference for this because it has to be a creature attacking. I believe it has to be a creature, right? Or just say when you do damage. Let me double check. Yeah, 1 or more creatures. So doing direct damage with a spell like this won't let you do a suggestion. Alright, we have 4 packs left to go. Hopefully, I get 4 different decks. I would like to see all the different decks. But, you know, it's what it is, right? Oh, nice. We got one of my favorite colors. The one name I definitely can't pronounce ever. Orzhov Syndicate. I love the black one. I love white. Black is really fun because it's really close. It's got some fun stuff I'm going to love in here. Basilisk Screecher. Flying and Extort. So whenever you cast a spell, you may pay either white or black. If you do, each opponent loses 1 life and you gain that much life. So this will definitely help keep you alive. This particular set color combination likes to do a lot of like one damage, like 1 hit here, 1 here. So the Guild Mage here, pay 3, target player gains a life, or each player loses 1 life. Leering Onlooker is a vampire. Flying. Pay 4, exile Leering Onlooker from your graveyard. Create 2 tap 1/1 black bat token creatures. Nice. So it has to be in your graveyard to do it. So it has to die first, but then it can come back as 2 bat creatures. Fleshbag Marauder. Zombie Warrior. When Fleshbag Marauder enters the battlefield, each player sacrifices a creature. A Syndicate Enforcer, Extort, and then, yeah, that's it. Yeah, so just sneak in and, hit someone else with some extra stuff. Cool. Orzhov Racketeers. Whenever Racketeers goes combat damage to a player, that player discards a card. Afterlife 2. When this creature dies, create 2 1/1 white and black spirit creatures with flying. So this is going to create a bunch of flying creatures as well. And again, so it's white and black. Black being the main focus, but that means it would work well with the green and white because they're creating a lot of tokens, and they like token cards and creatures, and they have flying stuff, but it can also work well with the white one as well. Or the white and blue one we had, so it'd be kind of neat. The Signet gets you an extra mana. Afterlife Insurance. Creatures you control gain Afterlife 1 until the end of turn. Draw 1 card. So when it dies, create a 1/1 token. Ooh, that's neat. Because then if they're all you can attack with a bunch of guys and neat murder. Destroy target creature. Just straight up get rid of them. Parasitic Impetus. Enchanted creature gets 2/2 and gold. Whenever enchanted creature attacks, its controller loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So the idea is to throw these on your opponent's creature, right? It gets them a bonus attack, but they have to attack each time. But they're also going to keep losing life every time they do stuff. The Thriving Moor, which is black, add a color. The Guildgate. The Basilica. And then we have our 5 white, or our 5 swamps. And then we have our rare card here, which is the Quotius Elegy. Each player chooses up to 2 creatures they control, then sacrifice the rest. Then you create a tapped treasure token for each creature your opponent controls. Wealthier than ever thanks to the exorbitant interest on wartime loans. Interesting. So each player chooses up to 2 creatures they control, then sacrifice the rest. So you have to keep up to 2, and you have to get rid of everything else. If your opponent still has a bunch, you get a bunch of treasures. And if you played this with that other one that gave Afterlife, you could gain a bunch of creatures out of that. That's cool. And then we have the Seraph of the Scales. Flying. Pay 1 white. Gains Vigilance till the end of turn, which means doesn't tap to attack. Or gains Death Touch, which means if it does damage, it destroys whatever it touches, regardless of how big it is. And then it has Afterlife. So that's pretty cool. So if it does die, it gains that. Alright. Our 6th pack. We have another new deck, which is awesome. I'm still mad that I got that double right away, but that's alright. The Golgari Swarms. These are like undead bugs. We're going to have a green theme going. So that's kind of cool. So far we've had the blue, we've had a red, a black, a white, and now we have a green. So we've had at least a theme color now with this deck for each of the 5 colors. So it's some good mixing and matching. What's also neat though is you could keep these separate. I mean, if you wrote down the deck list, obviously there's no way of telling otherwise. But yeah, if you like made a list of which cards these were, you could even just take these and like pull them back apart. Hey, deal them back out after each game. So that'd be kind of a neat little thing to do. Let's look at the Gagari Swarm. We have Rubble-Built Maverick. That lion tiger thing has a lot of eyes. When Rubble-Built Maverick enters the battlefield, surveil 2 of the top 2 cards of your deck, put them back in your graveyard. Put any number in them into your graveyard, the rest of the top of your library. Pay 1 to exile it from your graveyard. Put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Activate only as a sorcerer. So this kind of, he comes into play, does his thing. He dies because he's really easy to take out. You can later exile him from the game to boost up another creature. That's kind of fun. The Crawl Warrior. Pay 5 or pay 6 to gain 3/3 going to turn. It's just small, but you can grow big very quickly. The Crawl Harpooner, Insect Warrior, who has reach and undergrowth. When Crawl Harpooner enters the battlefield, choose up to 1 target creature you don't control with flying. It gets plus X attack until the end of the turn, where X is the number of creature cards in your graveyard. Then you may have him fight that creature. Ooh, so that's fun. Okay, so he comes in, if you have 2 creatures in there, he gets 2 extra attack. And then you can opt to have him fight. So you're not forced to, but if you think you can defeat another creature, you're big enough, he can take out somebody else. Pretty cool. That's fun. The Pitless Gorgon, which just has Death Touch. Tribune of Rot. It's an Elf Shaman. Whenever Tribune of Rot attacks, mill 2 cards. For each creature that was milled this way, create a 1/1 green sapling token. Milling means discard the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. Thrashing Moscog. Sorry, top 2 cards of your deck. Thrashing Moscog, Plant Dog, Reach and Scavenge. Pay 6. Exile this card from your graveyard, putting number 1/1 cards equal to this card's power on target creature. Cool. So these guys are gonna be able to like die and then boost up their friends. Status and Statue. Target creature gets 1/1 till the end of the turn, gains Death Touch, or destroy target creature, artifact, or enchantment. Fun. Wild Size. Target creature gains +2/+2 against trample. Draw a card. The Fungal Rebirth. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. If your creature died this turn, create 2 1/1 saplings. Yeah, so again, you can see how these work well with the other colors in it, right? So this is green and black cards. So like our other colors, green and white, loved tokens, right? So you can see this working well with that, because then you could make more tokens with this, and if they get sacrificed, you can also see with some of the white and black deck we had that they would work well with, because they had stuff that like if your guys died, they gained afterlife. What, you create extra tokens, so you give your guys afterlife. If they die, they create tokens. And you have this, if they have another guy dies, they create 2 more tokens. You create a bunch of tokens that way too. Just you see the cool combinations here. Predatory Impetus, tanky creature, has 3/3 and must block if able, and is goaded. So you must attack if able and must block if able. Cool. Thriving Grotto has green mana. Guildgate, Gagari Rot Farm. Then we have our 5 forests. Of course, the other thing you also do with these is you can, after you get done, you can take all these cards and make your own deck. You might have enough to make like a decent white deck or a decent green deck, or mix and match cards between the colors, and make a couple of multiplayer decks out of them. Sludge Titan. Zombie Giant. Trample. Whenever Sludge Titan enters the battlefield or attacks, mill 5 cards. You may put a creature card or a land card from amongst them into your hand. Neat. So, why would you want to get rid of cards off your own deck? Because a lot of these guys have graveyard effects. They come in, they're fairly weak, but they die. They can then do stuff from your discard pile. So this just lets them go right there. You don't have to worry about hoping that somebody kills them. Because your opponent might decide, oh, they're attacking with that 1/1 guy. I'm just going to take the damage because I don't want to defeat him, right? Or they could block with, example, not so far here with that a wall that has 0 attack with 4 defense. They just keep blocking with that, and you wouldn't be able to defeat them, and they wouldn't die. It's just a way to do that. So that's pretty fun. And then we have Underrealm Lich. Ooh, that's a mythic rare. That's pretty cool. Zombie Elf Shaman. If you would draw a card, instead of the top 3 cards of your library, then put 1 to your hand and the rest into your graveyard. Pay 4 life, gains indestructible to the end of turn, and tap it. Right, cool, so it can't be destroyed, so basically you can keep it from dying. That's pretty fun. Yeah, you get a card, then put the other 2 into your graveyard, so you can kind of decide which ones you want to pull to your graveyard. That's pretty cool. So that was deck number 6. We have deck number 8 here, the Boros Legion. So this is our white leading, another white leading color. Novice Inspector. Inspector enters the battlefield, investigate. Draw a clue token. Nice. Fresh-based recruit. As long as it's your turn, fresh-based recruit has first strike. Hold on to your ideals, it'll be tested more than your armor. So this means if he does damage, he does his before other players. Not bad for a small creature. Sun Home Stalwart. First strike and mentor. Whenever this creature attacks, put a 1/1 counter on target attacking creature with less power. Neat. So it wouldn't work with so if these 2 guys attack together, then now he would become a 2/3 instead. That's fun. The Rock Charger, which is a bird. Flying whenever Rock Charger attacks, gain target attacking creatures without flying gains flying until the end of turn. Parahelion Patrol, flying vigilance with mentor. So then this could work well with, again, you look at our 2 different colors. We have red and black. So again, our white green we had before worked well because we have a lot more flying. Plus that created a lot of 1/1 tokens, right? So here they're all going to gain bonuses because they're already pretty small. Our red one though, yeah, they're not really that gonna. The mentor ability is not gonna probably work as much because these guys generally had fairly big attacks. But what would definitely be helpful for them is it says, it does say get your 1/1 counter when attacking a creature with target attacking creature with less power. They have lots of boosts in that one. So if all of a sudden I boosted this guy up to +3 attack, right? And now you can mentor one of the lower creatures that maybe only had 4 attack instead. So now you can put a counter on a 4/4 because this guy had 5. Because you only need it for that 1 turn. Then next turn he drops back down to 2/3. It's fine. The other guy keeps the counter. He has cool combos like that. Or Run Mentor, who has Mentor 1. Whenever you attack a player, target creature that's attacking that gains first strike to the end of turn. Something like that would be helpful too. These other guys have lots of high attacks, so get a deal at first. Integrity and Intervention. Target creature gets +2/+2 to the end of turn, so there we go, a boost in there. And Intervention deals 3 damage to any target creature, you gain 3 life. The Mighty Leap. Target creature gets 2/2 and gains flying until the end of turn. The Boros Signet, which lets us get some extra land. The Martial Impetus you've seen before, actually. So when we start getting these mix of colors, we're going to get multiple cards. We've gotten lucky that so far there hadn't been any crossovers, but now we're getting the colors we will. Boros Guildgate, Boros Garrison, our 5 white lands, our plains, and then we have I hate this word, Asieges of the Legion. Equipped creature gets +1/+1. It has mentor. Whenever equipped creature mentors a creature with a shield counter on that creature, if that creature be dealt damage or destroyed with a shield counter instead. Equipped 3. Oh, so that's pretty cool. So I do want to just like, look at this really quick. So in that red deck, right, we had something like this. I mean, it would take a while to get out because you have to play 6 +2 +3 to equip it. But also, if you gave this guy this, gains 1/1, so now he's a 7/6, and anyone who attacks with him that's under 7 power, gains a shield and a 1/1 counter. So those guys would all be boosting up very quick. Plus, they probably wouldn't die. So that's pretty cool. Then the Finale of Glory. Pay X and 2 mana. Create X 2/2 white soldier tokens with vigilance. If X is 10 or more, also create 4/1 X 4 white X 4/4 white angel creature tokens with flying and vigilance. That's awesome. So if you can get 10 mana up to 12 mana total, you would get yeah, because if it's at least 10, then you get 10 white soldiers and 10 angels, right? So you get 20 creatures out of it. I mean, if you can't win the game after that, it's probably something going wrong. Alright, then our final one is another Golgari Swarm. Which this has different cards in it. Interesting. So I'm going to double check that first one again. So yeah, here we're going to start with our Guild Mage. So I think maybe the front thing is maybe just showing the 10 different themes we can have. Yeah, because the other one started with this guy. Okay, so that's cool. So just because you have that picture, I think that's just kind of like, again, you could maybe open up all the packs if you wanted to and be like, okay, so now we know what colors we have, and you can maybe mix and match with each other. Like maybe have player 1 pick the first pack, player 2, player 3, player 4, and then go backwards so each player gets, kind of what they think they might want. So that's kind of neat. So we have the Golgari Guild Mage here. Pay 5 to sacrifice a creature. Return target creature from your graveyard to your hand. So if you're using these discard mill effects with this, yeah, then you can get those cards back. If not one you wanted in there. Now we'll put a 1/1 counter on target creature. We have another Leering Onlooker. I think this was in the one of the other decks. There's a different symbol on there too, which is I haven't noticed. I haven't been paying attention to that. The Gorging Vulture. When enters the battlefield, mill 4 cards. Gain 1 life for each creature milled this way. To mill 4 cards, put the top 4 cards in your library. Tribute of Rot, we saw. Pitless Gorgon. So a bunch of the same ones, but some different ones here. Venomous Hierophant. Gorgon Cleric Death Touch. Enters the battlefield, mill 3 cards. Status and Statue. The Golgari Signet. Corpse Churn. Mill 3 cards. You may return a creature from your graveyard to your hand. Neat. Deal Gone Bad. Target creature gets -3/-3 till the end of turn. Target player mills 3 cards. Thriving Moor. Guildgate. Rot Farm. And then here we go, as we got 5 swamps. So did the other one have swamps as well? I thought the other one was a green one. Right? Yeah. So the other one had green cards. So this is kind of cool, because if you mash both of them together, you still have a true color deck, which is easy to play everything. But you have one that's a lot more green stuff with creatures, and one side that's black with a bunch of spells. So that's pretty fun. And there's a picture of that guy. The Amazu Swarm Hunger. 5 menace. Other insects you control have menace. So the other one had a bunch of insects. This one didn't really. Whenever one or more cards leave your graveyard, you may create a 1/1 black and green insect creature token, then put a number of 1/1 counters that equal to the greatest mana among those cards. Do this only once each turn. So if you get rid of cards out of your graveyard by paying their exile cost, create black 1/1 green insect token, and then put a number of counters equal to the mana value amongst those cards. Nice. And then the final one we have there is the Dreadbridge Chant. Whenever Dreadbridge Chant enters the battlefield, mill 10 cards. At the beginning of your upkeep, choose a card at random in your graveyard. If it's a creature from the battlefield, otherwise put it into your hand. Nice. So you gotta mill these cards and you get them back. I'm double checking the other one to see if it was the exact same cards, and it looks like it is. Yes. Yeah, so my two blue ones are the exact same too, but these two are different. But like their outside cards may be the exact same, 6 and 6. So we don't know. So that's actually kind of fun. So if you do see one of those packs, don't just chuck it. It might be worth getting. But again, there was 160 cards. There's probably 250 cards in this set. So I don't have every card, obviously, since I don't have every guild. I'll have to debate whether I want to buy another box of this and try and get the other half of the decks. I don't really need the extra clue stuff as much, unless you wanted to play a game higher than a 5 or a 4-player game, because you only have 4 screens. I don't know how well that would work for the clue aspect, but that's definitely a neat thing to do. You could pick up another one, get some more, because again, you can sit down and play another set, and have all these decks. If you wrote down these deck lists, you could mix and match them again. Or again, you can always, play with your own decks of cards. The only thing I would say about playing with your own decks versus just mashing these types of things together is make sure that you don't have someone designing a deck specifically for this game, because it's all about your creatures dealing damage. So they could make stuff with, I'm going to make a deck that just has a bunch of unblockable creatures, right? Or a deck that's nothing but just 1/1 flyers, and you could build a deck that would utilize that damaging mechanic specifically for trying to do this, because you don't need to do 6 damage each turn. 1 damage is enough to keep suspecting, and you suspect enough times, you're just gonna have the answer, right? Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 18. There's 21 cards total, 18 that aren't in the thing. So you have to suss out 18 of them. You already know 2 of them because the 2 rooms, so that's 18, 17, 16. Plus, you're going to have X number that you get divided amongst the number of players. So if you're playing a 4-player game, you're going to automatically knock out another 4. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4. So that leaves you with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That only leaves you, so if you're playing a 4-player game, there's only 12 cards you have to figure out. So you only need to do 12 damage to each player in guessing to potentially figure it out at the end. And even then, you wouldn't even that would only be 100% be like, I have everything else solved. I know the exact answer. And you could probably take a random guess earlier than that even. So, yeah, so if someone built the deck specifically for this, you could probably win a lot quicker. Because again, you could have 3 cards that will attack each player, and then, but that's what we have there. Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, we have the last thing we're going to just look at quick here. I'm going to not tip all my cards over before we quit is, so we got done. We had put everything back in the box. And then what's neat, because the way they have this broke down is if you set these decks back up with the different things. So if I take my 2 Azura decks, I take my 2 Gagari Swarm decks, shove those 2 back in there. I take, let's see, we have Orbits, and what are the other ones? We have Boros. Yeah, so if we put our Orbits and Silencia together, and we put the Boros and Grohl together, and we make that. So like that's kind of neat. Then you can also separate your 4 decks out. We have our clue cards in here, which are separate. We have all our stuff. So you can just drop that lid back on. And boom, there we have the Clue Ravnica edition. Hope you guys enjoyed going through that with me. If you did and you like this, if you'd like to see me do another box and see what else we get of the Clue stuff, let me know in the comments. And then maybe I'll see about doing it, because it's kind of expensive for doing that. If you would like to see me open up other Magic stuff, I didn't do any of the new Ravnica Mystery Murder Act. Oh, I forgot it. It's a murder set. Plus, there's a new Western set coming out, which is kind of interesting to me. If you'd like to see me do more Magic cards, let me know. I've done Magic cards in the past. They're not generally amongst my top videos versus other cards, anime cards, or other board games. So that's why I've kind of slowed down on doing them. But if you're interested, I love doing Magic. I love to look at more cards. It's just not generally worth it for me to try and do videos if nobody's watching them. But I thought this is a special edition, so I do that. Alright, hope you guys enjoyed this really long video. See you guys later. Bye.